if I just accepted from the very beginning that mistakes are part of the process and that you should keep failing until you get to where you want to be, I would have this piece of paper in my hands much, much sooner. You see, the thing about perfection is it doesn't care, okay? Because perfection will never care about you. The minute that you try and put yourself in that sphere of wanting to act as if everything in your life is going the way that you want it to go, and that you just, you wake up with this grandeur, this poise that yes, I am me, I am she, I am him, I am them, and I'm gonna get whatever it is I want, and I'm not gonna make a single mistake doing it. Just watch me. Said no one ever. Okay? It took me 3 times of being absolutely humbled by life, of having to wait months and practice and spend money and spend energy to be holding this very paper. Now, this isn't even my real license. I have to wait another week before it comes in the mail. This just taught me so many lessons on life that I need to share with you right now. So strap in, okay? Grab yourself a nice drink. My beverage of choice earlier was a chai latte, but grab yourself whatever you want, okay? Whatever. Because these lessons are important. I want you to learn from my mistakes, if not be more open to making mistakes of your own. Because if I just gave up the first time I failed and was like, well, I was supposed to be perfect. Like, why the hell did this not work out? I would not have the freedom and I would not have the audacity to go out and get my license and keep trying. And I just want to throw out as a disclaimer too, I've kind of felt, like dual sides when it comes to getting this success my way. I feel kind of silly because in so many countries, from the ages of 14 to 16, maybe even 17, people have their license and it's just like a one and done. It's like as normal as brushing your teeth. It's as normal as going on a walk. Like, it was normalized for, all the years I was growing up, and I was like, no, I'm not driving. I'm too scared to drive. So to have gotten my license in this age and stage of my life, I just kind of felt silly. Like, that was the very first thing upon getting this license, and just like the thoughts that I was having during that. What I want to say is life is different for everyone. Okay, there is no guidebook to life. Many people will try and make guidebooks for life, but simply there is no one size fits all. The fact that I get to hold this and just like look at my name and how I've moved from a learner's permit to a driving license, like, I could actually cry. But I know that I've earned this. I know that I've earned this because I didn't let myself be perfect. Because perfection doesn't exist. I mentioned that in the very first video I made about perfection. And if you're interested in rewiring your brain around rest and actually thinking about yourself when you're not always performing and when you're not always trying to achieve all these great milestones, well, yes, that's what we're talking about today. You guys should know by now that I am not the end goal kind of person. I am speaking about the process that it took to get me here. I was so unhappy with the fact that I failed the very first time I went for my test. And now I look back, I'm like, I absolutely deserve to fail. Because the minute that someone thinks that they're perfect, that is when they stop trying. Imagine if you got your license handed to you then and there. You didn't even have to try. You didn't even have to prove the fact that you could open the car door. You didn't even have to identify the car door. Where is the door? You didn't have to do any of that. And you just got your license. Do you think that you would appreciate having your license? Probably not. Okay? I have had to work so hard with my feelings and my emotions of feeling like a failure. And not only that, I don't want to talk negatively about anyone, but I don't necessarily have the most supportive parent. My parent was betting on me to fail. And when I came back and I said I passed, I hugged them, and they said, I wasn't expecting you to get this. It was such a weird thing, okay? Because it's like, success does not rely on perfection. It just doesn't. Success relies on consistency. And even if you have people around you that don't see success in your future, or they just don't want you to succeed, do you want to know, like, why that would ever affect your success? Is because you would let it affect your success. For many times of my life and in many situations, I let that energy from someone else affect my outcome. But that is silly, because that is their projection of their own insecurities. That is completely outside of me, right? Now, why would you let anyone outside of you dictate inside of you and what you're feeling inside and what you want for yourself? This is a whole topic in and of itself. But even talking about validation, right? When so many of us go to other people to validate our problems, our thoughts, whatever, why are you looking and seeking validation from someone outside you? They're never going to be able to validate you in the way that you can validate yourself. You've been here for yourself from the very moment you were born up until right now. So who is going to validate you best? You guessed it. Yourself. Yourself. So this whole journey of failing and having to put this whole idea of perfection to the side and having this whole like I was so angry the first time that I failed my exam, and while it was a very justified fail, I wasn't doing the right things and I was getting like making all the mistakes. I was frustrated, right? Because I spent all this money on online tests and online courses, and then as well as that, one-on-one instruction. But at this point, I had spent one summer learning to drive. Okay, here's a little bit of lore, a little bit of a backstory. I never thought in my life that I would ever drive a car. Okay, because I had in some weird way created this pattern in my brain that because of enduring grief through losing a family member who unfortunately they did pass away from speeding and hitting something, right? Because of that happening, and I was maybe like, I'm gonna say 11 years old when that event happened, like, I just remember the memory of finding the news out, and then also because I didn't live in the country that I'm originally from at the time, I got sent a photo book of this relative, and I had it sitting on my windowsill. And I just convinced myself, like, if it was so easy for life to have essentially taken away my relative, this is not for me. This is not for me. Okay? So I had access to, transportation and all these things. I had people drive me around. I had public transport. But then all of a sudden, that changed when my parents decided we're not living in the city anymore. We're moving, like, just somewhere random pinned location on the map. And by this point, I wasn't living with them. I had decided to just go out and explore and do my own thing and live somewhere else. I moved to the mountains. I was like, there's no way I'm living with my parents in the middle of nowhere. That just sounds like hell to me. And I love my parents, but you guys get it if you're close-knit with your family, if that's, if you're just constantly in each other's space, even if you have your own space, it can get overwhelming, right? Like, I think everyone can agree on that, even if you have good dynamics or if you have bad dynamics in your family. Everyone is entitled to their own space and their own definition of freedom. So that is ultimately what I was looking for with my life. And then life happened. I had to come back. I just had to go back home because things were not working out. My father had passed away, and he'd passed away in a different country. I wasn't able to visit. I wasn't able to get bereavement leave, all these things, right? Massive ramble aside. Okay, I went back and I was like so depressed. I was literally so depressed. I went and got cognitive behavioral therapy because I spent a whole winter jobless because there was no work in the place where I live, like just zero work, because when you're in the middle of nowhere, how are you going to find work? Everyone's hired through family members, this, that, and the third. So I was stuck. I was literally stuck. I was forced to be put in a place where I had to feel my freaking feelings. All these times I've been trying to escape and find my own sense of independence until the universe or God said, no, you need to get over this fear and get over the idea of being perfect, because it wasn't going to happen for me. It just wasn't. I was not destined to be someone perfect. And you who's watching this, said this in my last video and I'll say it again, you are not destined to be someone perfect. Why? Because you and I are human. That's all there is to it. Okay? Some of us may say, well, God's perfect, well, the universe is perfect. Let them be perfect. We aren't. Okay? By default, humans make mistakes every single freaking second. Since I've hit this, video, since I've made this video and hit record, there have been a trillion mistakes made. Because we're human. And that's just that. You need to release any expectation of perfection right when you want to go in and do something. I'm grateful that, I paid for 20 hours of one-on-one time, and I drove all that I could with my parents. I did everything I could, and I'm able to be in this position, as well as watching videos any chance I can get on YouTube about how to drive. Literally, I'll probably put a link in the video to some of my favorite YouTubers who have helped me pass, because truly their consistency and honestly their want with you wanting to succeed is so important. It's important that we have people in our lives that want us to succeed. If I had more people around me right when I was first learning to drive, or maybe when I was not feeling ready, my cards may have been dealt differently. I may have passed the first time, but that is simply not my life nor my story. So I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm not going to sit here, make direct eye contact and just lie. That's not who I am. Anyways, freedom. That is the most important thing to me in this life. And you will never be free if what you want to be is perfect. Simple. I said it. You will not be free if you want to be perfect. No. Because again, I had this audacity about myself when I first failed. I was like, well, I put in all these hours and I spent all this money. So what? That doesn't make me perfect. Even if you go to school and you finish your degree, you get your PhD and whatever, that does not make you perfect in your craft. Don't you ever dare say that you're perfect in anything. Because from the minute that you decide that you're perfect, you're done, your work here is finished, you stop growing. You stop growing. You stop opening doors for yourself. You stop opening opportunities for yourself. Why? Because perfection seems like the end. Do you want your life to end now? If I just decided, okay, you know what? I've passed. I've got my license. It's coming in the mail. I'm not learning anymore. I'm done. I would end up in a car accident a week from now. That is my card. That would be my fate. Why? Because I've decided I'm perfect and I should stop learning and I should stop caring and I should stop paying attention. Life will find a way to humble you if you decide that being perfect is the way that you want to go. Being perfect, wanting to be perfect, is detrimental. Because anytime I've decided, okay, I have to get this all right in one go, I have suffered miserably. Miserably I've suffered. And that is why I need to reinforce the idea that anyone that's watching this who may be driving for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, maybe you don't even drive at all. And if you ever plan on driving, please never get too cocky about it. Never get too cocky that you're perfect in anything, because life will humble you. Okay. Now I want to get into when my life was crap, okay? When I wanted to just not do anything with my life. When every day started to kind of mesh into one. I could probably tell you that 4, maybe 5 months all felt like one day, like an amalgamation of one day, because that's how boring my life was. I was depressed. It was the middle of winter, middle of nowhere, no car, nothing to do but the same thing over and over again. I never want to look back. I never want to live my life like that again. Why? Because up until the point that I have finally had something good happen in my life, and I've had to just constantly wallow in a lack of accomplishment, what have I done? I have found little wins to make me feel like I'm accomplishing something in my life. And again, like I said, I don't want to look back on that reality, but I'm very grateful that I still had it in me to find a way to cope until I could hit a big milestone like this in my life. And I'm so happy. Like, I just don't know how to say it. Because I had failed 3 times on the parallel park. If you're getting tested and you never have to do parallel park in your life, I'm so happy for you because I'm traumatized. Truly, I'm traumatized. Okay, but when I got my parallel park right, my hill park right, and I just got like the thumbs up from my examiner, I was like, oh my God, God is good. And I'm telling you, all that hard work you put in, I don't care how many times your reality has been you failing, you have got to find little wins in your life. You've got to find little things that you can do every single day that just give you that itch. You know, like you get your you get your scratch of like success, like I got this. You know, that scratch for me was getting 10,000 steps in a day. It was exercising, it was going out and seeing nature. Oh my God, I did not even know until this year, and it's my 2nd year working here, that we have river otters. I was like, what? You come to realizations when you are at your weakest. And that is beautiful to me. What if I just didn't utilize absolutely every weakness in my life? Where would I be right now? Probably very depressed. Probably not making this video. Probably not holding this in my hand. You've got to find little wins until you can get your big one, okay? Do not prioritize your life based on those big wins. Find small wins every single day until you get your big win, okay? Like I've said before, you may not be living in a reality right now that is serving you. You may not be living in a reality that's like, oh, I have all my sense of freedom, like I have to rely on someone. That's not you forever though, is it? Like, can you tell me, can you think of a time when you really wanted something and you worked so hard, you didn't give up, and you got it? I bet every single one of you have one story like that. So what the hell? Like, genuinely, what the hell? Why are you gonna give up because you feel like a fool? Feeling like a fool is part of the process. It literally is. If you can get comfortable around the idea of like, okay, I literally don't care what other people are gonna say or what they may think or how they're gonna make me feel, imagine how much more abundance you will attract in your life just by having that mindset. I'm telling you, I was bogged down the first time I failed. The second time I was like even angrier because I was like, okay, I've learned from my mistakes. What the hell? I went to a different registry, made the exact same mistake. I was like, what the hell? Like, I was so stubborn with it. You cannot be stubborn with driving. You know, even though, again, time and time again, I've invested all this, I could not. Like, that was just not the time. And you also have to realize that timing plays such a huge factor into it. You may think you're ready, but the universe doesn't think you're ready. God doesn't think you're ready. You have to trust that. You have to absolutely trust that because, again, I'm trying to give you the ultimatum. I'm trying to give you the hypothesis. If I got my license the first time, I would have taken it for granted. I put in a lot of effort, yes, but I would have 1,000% taken it for granted. I would have taken the second attempt if I got it right, for granted. Third time, for granted. These pushbacks, these setbacks that you think are just like soul crushing, I'm telling you they're going to be part of your success story. Because again, I am successful. I have achieved a huge level of success today. I've never been more stressed out in my life. But I'm so grateful for those times where I messed up and I failed and I just persisted anyway. I said to myself, I'm not stopping until I get what I want. You have to have audacity, but in the right place. If I had audacity about arguing, which I didn't, by the way, but if I had the audacity to argue with the examiner, like, why didn't you pass me? I did this. The thing that I want is now pushing itself further and further away, and I'm chasing it, and I'm never going to get it. You have to shift your audacity to a different place. Okay, I may have failed. This freaking sucks. I'm not wallowing and I'm carrying on. That's my audacity. And I want you to have the same audacity to anything you want in this life. I don't care that the results are not showing up now. I don't care that you may not like your freaking reflection in the mirror. I don't care. And you shouldn't care either, because this is not the be-all end-all. This is just right now. And you should still appreciate right now anyway. I know I do. And I know I did. Okay? One more thing I'm going to say before I go and I let you soak all this into your brain. Make sure you get some rest as well, okay? Not just learning all the time, because that's not beneficial. We need our rest too. So the last thing I want to mention is I would not have this license. I would not have this new rite of passage to freedom if my mindset was, any different to how it is now. I have to let you in on a little secret. Every single time I've gone in for my test and I failed, I had the mindset of passing. Every time. Even if I was bogged down after, even if I was so sad and I felt like such a disappointment, I had the mindset of passing. And you have to integrate that into whatever part of your life you feel like you're lacking in or you feel like you're failing in. Yes, it feels fake. Yes, it feels, artificial to be acting this way, but it's kind of like manifesting. I manifested this license in my hands today. Okay, so apart from obviously the action and putting in the hard work, because that is like an affirmation back to yourself, hey, I deserve this reality because I'm putting in this, that, and the third. I want you to change your mindset. Now, how do you change your mind that is so stubborn to your ways of thinking, to your thought patterns, to your habits? You have to create new patterns. So the way that I was doing this for myself is various ways, and I will get into them right now. You can even include other ideas that I may not mention today. You may take a few, take them all, do whatever works. Obviously, one size doesn't fit all. The first thing that I did was, at the end of last year, I made a vision board. And I included 2 pictures from Pinterest. One that said graduating my passenger princess era, because I'm like, no, I am done relying on other people. I need this car for myself, especially now that I live in the middle of nowhere. I need my life back. Genuinely, I feel like I've lost my life this last year or so. Life wasn't lost. I needed this to happen, right? Second thing, I created a song, okay? And no, I didn't compile the music. I didn't compose the music. I didn't sing it. I wrote lyrics, okay? And I know this may be controversial because AI is on the rise, and yes, there's a lot of things about it that suck. But I genuinely think part of the reason why I was able to manifest getting my license was, again, consistency, constantly seeing the reality of me having this license, seeing pictures of a past test, and I passed and whatever. It was that song and the lyrics that I put in it. So I used an app called Suno, not sponsored. If I am ever sponsored in the future, you will be the first to know. But I made a song on there. And if you guys are interested and want the song, I can make it public and I will definitely share it. But that being said, AI or not, you can make affirmations in any way that feel best to you. You can get a post-it note, stick it on the mirror, read it to yourself every day. If you like making music, you don't need AI, like I said. You can write the lyrics. Just get creative with it. I truly think people that say, oh, I'm not creative, you are. You just don't believe you are, or you haven't tapped into it. Every single one of us has creative flair. Without creativity, we wouldn't be here. I'm just going to say it flat out. Without creativity, people wouldn't create things that we use every day that we take for granted. Without creativity, we wouldn't have light. We wouldn't have heat, electricity. So get that concept out of your head. Okay? The other thing is, okay, and this is, a lot of YouTubers say oh, whenever I talk to myself, this is crazy. I don't think it's crazy to talk to yourself. I'm actually not going to say that anymore, because I've organized my thoughts in this way. If you don't want to journal, if you don't want to speak to a therapist, if you can't speak to a therapist, you should speak to yourself. You have the answers within you. You just need to find out. You just need to talk to yourself. So the way that I did it was through voice memos, the voice memo app. I'll talk to God. Because yes, maybe the concept of talking to myself is weird, but like if I'm addressing God, then it's fine. So do it in a way that best fits you. But last night I literally prayed to God. Obviously, my success was meant to be handed to me today. I've worked very hard. I didn't give up, and that was, the predeterminer of me getting what I want, because many people try for years on end to get something that they really want, and then people are envious when they get the success, but then they completely discredit all the work, all the effort and sacrifice that person put in to get what they want. So that is what I'm going to leave you guys with today. I had this massive urge to record this video, so I hope that it helped you guys out. If you guys have any suggestions on what you want me to talk about for the week, because I want to post every single week, please let me know in the comments below anything that you're struggling with. It would mean the world for me to help you, because many people on this app on YouTube have helped me be the person I am today, have shaped me to be the person I am today. So I just want to return the favor, honestly. It is such good energy to be able to reciprocate that. And I just want to say right now, we are at 132 subscribers, and I'm so grateful and lucky to have a platform where I can, talk to you guys and connect with you. It is such a blessing. I was literally thinking about it at work. If I had to picture like 132 people stood in the room right now, I'd probably have so much anxiety. Like I would get flustered, literally. Like I would just be like, what the frick? This is my thank you to you guys for sticking around and giving yourself the time and space and energy to look inward. Okay? And remember, take reign of your own life.